Hello, everyone, and welcome to Claret and Booze. My name's Nick. This is my daily ramble. I hope you are all well. If you're new to the channel, as I always say, please subscribe to this channel. And if you're not new and you watch us all the time, but you ain't subscribed, please do us a favour. We check the analytics on the channel, and it's about 60% of people that watch us are still not subscribed. So please do. I know not everyone's got an account, but it's free. It don't cost anything. Head over, sign up. It does help the channel, and drop a like on the video. Going to give our channel sponsors, the Kent and Sussex Tea and Coffee Company, a shout out today. If you like your tea and your coffee, who don't? Head over there, use our discount code Claret15. You'll find the link in the description. It's a great website. They sell everything that you could imagine, and even if you just like your standard tea and coffee, tea bags from there far cheaper than from the supermarkets, and it's better as well. It is better. And they're West Ham owned as well. So, not the club, but a West Ham fan owns it. So what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to touch on the, I'm going to sort of briefly touch on the Sheffield United game, sort of a morning after the game before. I'm going to talk about Ben Johnson, and I'm going to talk about Calvin Phillips as well. So Sheffield United, now, the debate is raging in terms of the referee decisions at the end of that game. And I've watched a few videos today, and the more you look at the challenges, I've got to be honest, the more you look at the challenges, we were very, very, very hard done by. Because even though, like I said, it was an evenly matched game, Sheffield United, if they'd have scored a lot of the chances that they created, couldn't have complained either way if it had been a draw or if we'd have got beat. The fact is, we were winning. We converted a few of our chances. It was 2-1. And it was a referee that cost us. It's been analysed now. We're probably going to get an apology from the PGMOL as well. What good does that do? It doesn't do anything. There's just no sense in that. But the Areola one, that should have been given against Areola. He's got a split lip. His picture's been all over Instagram as well. He got clattered by McBurney. It weren't a brush. It was a full-on whack that he got. And, it was a bit of a 50-50. I think the keeper's got every right to come for that. He didn't wipe McBurney out at all. I don't think it was a foul. If anything, it should have been a foul the other way. Like I say, Areola's the one that went down on the floor, poleaxed, with his face smashed in. So that should never have been given. It shouldn't have been. And when you go down the other end and you look at what happened with Bowen, that was also a foul. Again, I keep changing my mind on it, but the more I look at it, the player wasn't even looking at the ball. He was looking at the player. He was looking at Bowen. He dragged him down. It was definitely, that happens anywhere else on the pitch. It's a foul. That's a penalty as well. And also the referees have come out and said, because of that challenge on Brewster, the one that should have been a straight red. No, the challenge from Brewster on Emerson, where he literally completely out of control, came flying in, and the referee's initial reaction was to give a yellow card, and we had to rely on VAR to overturn it. Apparently, it was due to the fact that Soufal went, "What are you talking about? That was an awful challenge," which it was, which he was proved right about. But he got cautioned for that. Apparently, he should never have been cautioned for that. Because it was a referee's initial mistake. And the linesman was right there as well. So although he made a stupid, rash decision on a yellow card, which was entirely Soufal's fault, he shouldn't have been on a yellow in the first place. So there is a raft of mistakes there that have cost us the game. That they've cost us a point, It was another game where we didn't play well, and we was on our way to 3 points, which has been the theme of the season. But 3 points are 3 points, that would have given us much more of a cushion in the league. It would have been far better. Would have been on 37 points. Now if Brighton win tonight, I think they're just 1 point behind us. So it is damaging when they make these decisions, and we ain't the only ones. It's been happening all season. The refereeing standard and VAR has been absolutely shocking all year. We haven't really come a cropper too much this year. I think normally we are, but this season we've kind of escaped unscathed a little bit. If anything, VAR seems to have worked in our favour. I mentioned the Luton game at the start of the season where Ward-Prowse, we couldn't have argued if he'd have given a penalty away there. But it did come back to haunt us in a big way. In a big way yesterday. So it was a shocking performance from that referee. I just don't see why they can't be held accountable. I don't see why the referees can't be held accountable for it. I don't see why they can't why that, like a manager has to go in and talk to the press after a game. I think the referee should as well. They should be made to explain themselves. They should. And the comms from VAR, when there's something like that going on, we should all be able to hear it. I think that would make a lot more sense, or it'd make us more frustrated. I don't know, because they just keep on making mistake after mistake after mistake, and it's getting a bit much. I mean, at some point they're going to make a mistake that's going to cost someone a title or relegation. That's what's going to happen ultimately, which they will. Throughout the course of a game, fine margins, you can probably pin anything. A team that get relegated, they might only get relegated by 3 points. You can guarantee, there'll be a game somewhere in the season where a mistake has cost them. And these apologies, these open letters from the PGMOL, they don't cut the mustard. They don't. It's as simple as that. And the same at the top of the league. If you're looking at winning the league or getting in the Champions League, this system was brought in to improve things. It hasn't improved anything. I think the referees have become too reliant on it. They almost rely on VAR, so they don't make decisions. I think that's why we didn't see the instant red, because he knows that VAR are going to look at it. Luckily, in that instance, they did correct it. But that shouldn't be the case. The referee's still got to referee the game. And what is VAR there for? How did the Bowen penalty not get reviewed? How did that not? It was at the end of the game. How did that not get looked at? It's an absolute fucking joke. I've got to be honest. But look, it is what it is. Like I say, when you leave things to fine margins, as I said yesterday, these are the types of things that can happen. If you leave it to chance, you might get a bit of luck go against you. We should not be in a situation where, we should have put away a few more of our chances, maybe, and then would have been 3-1 up or 4-1 up even. And then that wouldn't have been the case. But we didn't play well. We didn't play well yesterday at all. But a couple of players that did. Danny Ings, as we spoke about yesterday, absolutely fantastic. He looks revitalised in that number 10 because there wasn't a massive reliance on his pace, even though Gary insisted that he thought that he witnessed Danny Ings with pace yesterday. I didn't. I thought he looked sharp on the turn and stuff like that. I mean, when he won that penalty, it was fantastic. But he looked very sharp. He did. You can see he's a player that hasn't got much confidence in front of goal. He's a striker, an instinctive striker that historically gets the ball out of his feet and strikes the ball quickly. That's how he scored so many goals throughout his career. But that's kind of evading him at the moment. You can see he's overthinking things. He's taking too many touches. I think that could come. However, I don't think he's going to get too many chances to do that, because I don't know when all the players are back where Danny Ings does fit. I think all it proves is that he was a wrong player for West Ham. He isn't crap. He isn't finished. He was just never suited to do the job that we were asking him to do in the system. It was a poor signing. Because, it was a square peg for a round hole. So he was never a bad player. And if he goes on from West Ham, I think he'll do well elsewhere as well. He looks hungry, His attitude is absolutely spot on, I think, Danny Ings. So he did well. Ben Johnson as well, we've already spoken about. This is a player that is free as of now to start talking to other clubs to sort a pre-contract out. He can do that. As well as we are now, we've decided to try and give him a better contract offer. Other clubs can approach him as well. I'm not too sure how I feel about it. I've got to be honest. I think it could be too little too late. It could be. The bloke looks like he's full of confidence at the moment. He's looked very good whenever he's come on recently. He's a fantastic utility player, although I do want him to be more than that. I want to see him nail down a position and be trusted to do that. He's been neglected for 3 years. Neglected. So as much as he probably wants to stay at West Ham because it's familiar, he came through the academy. For his career, currently, if this is how he's going to be used for the rest of his career, if I was Ben Johnson, I would move on. I would, because he's good enough. He's not a kid anymore. You saw him yesterday. He's a man. He's fully developed. He's a good runner. He's physical. He's good with both feet. He's just a really fucking good player. A really good player that you can use throughout your team. I mean, we've played him everywhere. Centre-back, right-back, left-back, central midfield, left wing. We can play him anywhere. You could probably play him as a centre-forward if you wanted to. Some players are like that. So it would be an absolute travesty if we lost him, because I do think that he's a type of player that's going to go on and do well somewhere. He is. He's a good pro. He's a good pro. They've got to pay him the money he wants, and not only that, because I don't think it's just going to be money. They've got to promise him. Moyes has got to give him a run in this team. Soufal's out now. Stick him in at right back. Don't worry if he has a shit game. Stick with him. Stick with him. I'm not being funny. You don't drop Souček when he has a shit game. You don't drop Soufal when he has a shit game. So how about showing some loyalty to some other players outside of your little clique and just give a player like that, a player who's come through our academy, a player that we should be cherishing and keeping here, because there aren't that many kind of players about like that anymore. You know, after Noble and Deck have gone, that's it. Ben Johnson, he gets West Ham. He is West Ham. So it's important that we keep him around. Even if long term he isn't going to be a first team player, he's a wonderful utility player. He's a brilliant player. He deserves way more game time than what he gets. But no, they've got to get that done, I think. And if we lose him, that's on Moyes. It's on Moyes. You know, he's had several opportunities to get Ben Johnson back in and playing. Soufal has had extended periods in this team where he's been crap. Extended periods. Ben Johnson will come in, have a bad game, dumped. Soufal straight back in. It doesn't make any sense. And like I said, Souček, he had an entire season last year where he was crap, never got dumped. But other players, if they come in, they don't perform, they're out. They're out. It's ridiculous and it stinks. Right, the other thing that I'm going to talk about is a Calvin Phillips deal. The latest reports, I've got no inside information on this one. I'm taking this from the latest reports that are out there at the moment. And they state that the deal that David Moyes is currently negotiating with Man City, there is a negotiation going on, doesn't involve an option to buy. It doesn't. So what that means is we've got a Lingard-esque deal happening. So the player wants to come to West Ham to reignite his career. Obviously, you would imagine that we would benefit off of that. But this is a CDM we're talking about, not a player that's going to assist and score goals. He'll make us a bit more solid and give David Moyes more options. But he's not going to be a complete game changer for us like Lingard was. So it's a one-sided deal, in my opinion. It's weighted heavily in the player and Man City's favour. Because Man City are obviously, they've got no use for Phillips, but they want to make as much money as they can. So give him to West Ham. There's no option to buy. We raise the player's profile because he'll probably do quite well for us. They can make more money on him in the summer, and Calvin Phillips can get what he wants and go out there and find a top club. Because clearly, like Lingard, he thinks he's better than West Ham, and he doesn't want to commit to signing for us after this loan. I just think that West Ham should be. I don't like that deal. I like the player. I'm very interested to see what David Moyes would do with this midfield four of Alvarez, Phillips, Souček and James Ward-Prowse, because someone's got to make way, and I don't know who that would be. I still don't believe that Souček and James Ward-Prowse ever come out of that team. I don't. I hope that he proves me wrong if this happens. Even though people are kind of saying it's moving on, I personally don't think it will. But of course there's a chance. If we can get a good enough deal with Man City, then why not, I suppose. If they kind of pay a big enough portion of his wages and it's not a huge loan fee, then I suppose fine. But I just think that we, with our new structure in place now, with the director of football, with the scouts and everything that we've put in place now, you don't need that to go out and sign Calvin Phillips. We should be looking at other options. We should be looking at a permanent signing. Like I say, he's a CDM. We must be able to go out there and find someone on a permanent deal that would do that job. I don't really understand it. I mean, if we were talking about Haaland and getting him in for 4 months to come in and bang in 20 goals for us to push us over the line, I'd be like, well, yeah, fine. Benefits the player, benefits us. But apart from making us a little bit more solid in central midfield, which it would do if David Moyes did the right thing and played the right balance of players, which I'm not sure that he would. I mean, look, I'm at the stage now where I kind of hope it happens. I hope it happens just to see what Moyes does, really. I just think it'd be banter. Because I don't know who he's going to... I still think that James Ward-Prowse and Souček would be in that team. If anyone's going to come out, it would probably be Alvarez, which would really piss me off. But having said that, maybe he could drop Alvarez back to centre-back. Again, I just think that's a waste. We don't know what he's like as a centre-back. We know he's played there, but we know he's a great CDM. We don't need Phillips to replace Alvarez, is what I'm saying. So if what we're doing is going out and getting Phillips to replace Alvarez, that's weird. We don't need that. And I'm pretty certain that that Phillips won't be coming in to play backup to Alvarez in case he gets a red card, which he's always liable to get. No, he's going to be coming into play. That's probably going to be written into the contract, I imagine, or it's a promise. It's a promise that he's going to get game time. Like I say, if it happens. The other thing, there's one more thing I want to touch on. The left wing talk has died down. Now, I do think that we're going to do some business, but at the end of the window, I think it's going to go the same way as the summer. I think we are pandering to David Moyes. We're going out there trying to get his targets. That's what we're doing. I think we're going to basically hit a roadblock on David Moyes' signings, and then you'll see Tim in his jet and bringing a few players in. I do think that we're likely to see a left winger. I do, because in retrospect, as much as I want Cornet, I said everything that I said yesterday. As much as I want Cornet to do well, from what I saw yesterday, it feels like he's lost too much physically. It looks like he's lost a bit of pace. He's lost a bit of awareness. He's lost a bit of power. You know, he kind of didn't look up to it. His finish was great, and we know that he can strike a ball. But yeah, in retrospect, sort of looking back, I'm just not too sure that he's going to be the right answer, sadly. So I think a left winger would be good. Now, if we go out and we get Steven Bergwijn, that's going to be 3 players from the Ajax Academy. Not the Ajax Academy, from Ajax. 3 players, Alvarez, Kudus and Bergwijn. If we do get Bergwijn in, which is still a possibility, we're still negotiating with Ajax. He's one of the players that we're talking to. I'm going to really start to believe that our next manager appointment is already here in Johnny Heitinger. Because we know that he managed Ajax last year. I think he managed 12 games at the end of the season, won 9. Really good. Played good expressive football. Maybe Stein got him in because he did he pointed Moyes towards Heitinger. Obviously, we know that Moyes knows Heitinger as well because he was his centre-back. But it was Tim Stein that pointed David Moyes towards him, and that's how we got him in place. That's how we got him in place, because we were struggling for a first-team coach. But this could have all been in his mind. Maybe he wanted to get him in to have a look at him, to see how he works, to see if he would fit. So yeah, it would just be interesting, because going back to that Bergwijn transfer, when it was being spoken about earlier in this window, the rumour was, and that was from X, was that this was being driven by Heitinger. It was a recommendation to say that Bergwijn is what we need. It makes you wonder why a first-team coach would have that much say. So yeah, just interesting. Food for thought. I don't know how I'd feel about it. I probably wouldn't feel good or bad because it's an unknown. I'd be keen to see how it played out if Heitinger ended up becoming our first-team coach. I'd give it a go. That'd be fine. You know, I wouldn't push back on that. It just feels very un-Sullivan-like, because we know that Sullivan likes to have an experienced head in the club. But then again, once he gets to know someone, Heitinger will have been in the club for a long time. If enough of, if Noble and Stein go to Sullivan and say, no, look, this guy can do it, he's really, really good, then maybe that will be enough to sway Sullivan. I don't know. So look, maybe the man's already here. I'm still got my heart set on Xabi Alonso, as you all know, and Arnie Slot. But Xabi Alonso won't play ball. He keeps winning it. He keeps winning every game. You know, if he keeps winning every game, we ain't going to get him, are we? But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on that. A little bit of a conspiracy theory, but yeah, just a bit strange. A bit of a strange one. I did think the Heitinger one was a bit odd when we got him in anyway. I mean, I know there's a pre-existing relationship there with Moyes, but he doesn't want to be a first-team coach forever. Surely he's got a bit of a taste for being a manager. When he was in, like I say, at Ajax for that little period, he did well. You know, I'm sure he's ambitious. I'm sure he wants a little bit more. And none of us know. We'll all go, a lot of people go, you can't go for Heitinger. He's got no experience. Well, Alonso had no experience. At some point, all of these managers had no experience. Why not? I'll give it a go. If that was being factored in, providing that Tim Stein thought that was a good idea, and I trust Tim to make that choice, I'd back it. I would back it. If it was Sullivan, I wouldn't back it. But if it's endorsed by the man himself, Super Tim, then yeah, I'll go along with it. That'll be fine. But anyway, look, that's it for me. A much longer ramble than I anticipated. We'll speak to you soon. Gary should be back tomorrow with his episode 2 of his Moyes series that he's doing. All right. So I shall look forward to that, because I've not been given any spoilers this time. Speak to you all soon, and come on, you irons.